In the past 10 years, the New York Giants have not had a lot of success. They've only made it to the playoffs twice, and they haven't made it past the divisional round since 2011 when they won the championship. Now, the Giants have missed the playoffs once again, and we're back to that same old feeling, disappointment and failure. But there's still hope. I don't get why, because we just missed the playoffs. Our quarterback tore his ACL, and when he was playing, he looked like absolute dog water. So the question remains, what hope do the Giants have next year?
4th and 8, game on the line. Cousins, Hockenson, he is not going to get there, and the Giants will take over.
You see that play right there? That play just gave me so much happiness. I remember that play like it was yesterday. I could have gotten hit by an 18-wheeler and still been happy. This was the first time I saw my team have success for once. The first time I've seen my team win a playoff game and be able to remember those memories. This was my team. And it didn't matter what we did in Philadelphia. I was happy with the season because I really haven't seen them had that much success. This is the first time I've really seen it. And then this season happened, and I remember watching the Dallas game, and I'm thinking, this first drive, it's going so well. Darren Waller's getting included. Jones is making great passes. Barkley's running the ball well. I really felt like this team had a chance. Then Daniel Jones gets sacked. Then the kick gets blocked, and then all of a sudden we're down 40-0, and this season's actually over. Oh my God, what happened? And this season really had its ups and downs. The team finished 6-11, right? And we had some good moments, like DeVito, he's Italian. But then we had also moments when Daniel Jones tore his ACL, and obviously Christmas game, and so many other moments that I don't want to remember. But we also have moments like this week where I wanted, the Giants to lose to get a better draft pick, to say at number 5, maybe move up in the draft order. And of course, they have to go out there and clap Philadelphia like it's nobody's business. Call me a bad fan for wanting them to lose. I'm a bad fan because at this point, we weren't making the playoffs. There was no playoff implications. I wanted the better draft pick. I really think, and this is my personal opinion, that Marvin Harris Jr. would be the perfect fit on the Giants, because when you look at the Giants and you look at their history with Daniel Jones, what has Daniel Jones not had? He has not had a number 1 wide receiver. He hasn't had that one guy. He's had Darren Waller. He's had Darius Slayton, but these guys aren't number 1. Like, OBJ got traded the year before Daniel Jones comes in. Like, he would have been a number 1 guy. We would have saw what he could have done with a number 1 guy. I think, and I'm probably in the minority, that you give Daniel Jones one more shot. You give him one more chance. You see what he can do with a number 1 wide receiver if you go and get Marvin Harrison Jr., and you see what he can do. If he doesn't do well, you let him go. The problem is with that is that if you let Daniel Jones get one more shot, you can't get a guy like Jaden Danielson, or even possibly you trade for the number 1 pick and get Caleb Williams, which I don't think is happening. I don't think the Giants will do that at all, but you never know. But it comes back to why we have so much hope for next year. And I think it comes down to Brian Daboll, who we've seen is a great coach. I think he still has a lot of support even after finishing with his first losing season. This team feels completely different. This team feels like it'll bounce back. But the question is, will we? I know we're past the McAdoo and Schumer and even Joe Judge days. I know we're past that, but it just, if I know anything about sports, it's that you can't expect too much. You keep your expectations and your hopes high, you're let down. And I'm not expecting a Super Bowl, and I don't think anybody is. But what I am expecting is consistent playoff appearances. The NFL is weird like that. One year you could go to the playoffs and even win a game. The next year you could be picking top 5. And that's the position the Giants are in. I don't want to say that the Giants will come back next year because I really don't know how to feel about this team. When you break it down, your offense is run through one man, and that's Saquon Barkley. Your quarterback, who you paid a lot of money in the offseason, and Daniel Jones is coming off of a torn ACL, and you don't have a number one wide receiver. You pretty much have a bunch of 2s and 3s that are trying to be number 1s. And then when you look at your defense is honestly perfectly fine. You have guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, Ojulari, you have Bobby Okereke. Your defense is fine except for the DBs. I would say Xavier McKinney is solid there. That's somebody that you have to prioritize in the offseason. Your DBs is really what the problem is. I think a guy like Deonte Banks is going to be a future piece on this team, but the other DBs on this team are just not cutting it. But this defense is solid, and this defense I trust with everything. It's the offense that gives me problems. There are no number 1s on this team. There's no one that Daniel Jones can target and trust. Darren Waller could be that guy, but he gets injured too often. Saquon Barkley's just a running back. You need a number 1 wide receiver, and which is why I say go for Marvin Harrison. But why are so many people suggesting that they should get a quarterback? As much as I would love for Daniel Jones to be the guy, his numbers really don't lie. Daniel Jones this year went 1 for 5 before the ACL tear, and his touchdown to interception ratio was 2-6. Over his career, he's 22, 36, and 1, and his touchdown to interception ratio is 62-40. Now, obviously, of course, you're not going to expect him to be the next Tom Brady. This wasn't who he was supposed to be. He was just supposed to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. And if anything, he was going to be a dual threat quarterback, in which he is. He can run and he can throw, and he can throw well. But the problem is that he just never puts it together. I don't know what happened last year. I really don't, because last year was like a miracle year for him. Though he was 9-6-1 and he only threw for 15 touchdowns, he found success with his legs, and that was the most important part. But also, he also had the lowest interception percentage out of the league. That has never happened for Daniel Jones. Turnovers were his biggest problem, and that was so evident this year when he was not doing that well. I don't know what kind of magic juice he had last year. I think he might have gotten into Michael Jordan's stash or something, but he needs to get it back because everybody is calling to get a guy like Jaden Daniels in the draft, and I don't blame them. Daniel Jones tears his ACL and he's gone, and not only that, but before he goes out, he was terrible. And I don't want to blame this all on Daniel Jones. It's not all his fault. There is plenty of blame to go around. My biggest thing is that he's never gotten a chance with a number 1 wide receiver. So before we go out and start to trash Daniel Jones and even beg for a new quarterback, let's give him one last chance. Let's give him one last shot and get him someone applicable to a number 1 wide receiver and give him that last shot. If he sucks after that, well, that's the risk you run, because this is such a stacked quarterback class. I don't know what you can do, but the Giants have to do something, or else the momentum that they got from last year is all gone, and we will just go back to the bottomless pit that we were before. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. What do you think the Giants should do? Comment down below. And as always, peace.